Okay, AFC West here. So, whew, what one team race, right, guys? Barring any freak show stuff happening, Seth. This is the Chiefs division to lose, of course.
Yeah, and the Chiefs are just such an interesting team from a betting standpoint. I mean, we're going to get a bunch of haters in here like, no, Chiefs are so good, blah, blah, Patrick Mahomes so good. And that's true. I mean, this team has won 2 championships in a row. Patrick Mahomes is unstoppable, but that's really this playoffs. If you look at this team from a betting standpoint week to week in the middle of the season, the Chiefs can be a very variable team to bet on. So, yeah, I think it's a one-horse race for the Chiefs to win. The Broncos look like they have headwinds. Broncos with the new rookie Bo Nix just named the starter. I don't know what that's going to look like. Chargers, it looks like Herbert might already be dealing with injury, so that's an issue. And then you have Minshew, which is maybe one of the biggest question marks I have. Is he the quarterback though that can get them through that? To rival the Chiefs? I don't know, but again, I'm not running to bet the Chiefs. This is again the team that they're not. Every team in the NFL is beatable, and the Chiefs, I think, in the last couple of years have shown that until they get to the playoffs and Mahomes just does what he does. To me, even though there's some value here on the under, you can see the value on the over is just just very negative. So I wouldn't even go there. I think the answer to your question is yes, but it's a yes, but it's really difficult to want to bet them knowing how they perform in season and how tricky that can be.
Yeah, and Steve, to Seth's point, we don't have an official play for win totals in this division here, but yeah, do you agree with that take, or are you seeing based on some of the slight edges we're showing for the other teams that you like one or that you're leaning one way or the other?
Yeah, no, I'm not betting against the Chiefs, and I don't disagree with what Seth said in terms of this team is definitely a more dangerous playoff team. But remember, last year they finished 11-6. They were 8-5 at one point, and at the danger of missing the playoffs. The Broncos were one game behind. The Raiders and the Chargers are both mathematically still alive, and people are saying, "Oh, this is the end." You had this Chiefs team that wasn't blowing teams out. They weren't explosive on offense like we've seen Mahomes-led teams. I mean, they were 25th in the league in EPA per attempt to wide receivers. Their average passing depth was like close to the batting 30th. So they weren't beating you down deep. Your most hype receiver, Kadarius Toney, couldn't catch a cold. And on top of that, by his own admission, was possibly a healthy scratch for the Super Bowl. So you saw Rashee Rice kind of get on towards the end of the season, having Xavier Worthy drafted from from Texas and Hollywood Brown coming over. That definitely should help, but I can't see how they get worse. And I say all that to say this team they had a down year in terms of their explosiveness and the eye test, but you look at their EPA, they were right in that top right quadrant for most of the year. So I don't know how you bet against this team even when they look bad, they still get to 11 wins. Their strength of schedule, I think, is 12 right now. So I don't like it. I'm not a Chiefs fan, don't get me wrong, but after betting against Mahomes so many times and losing, I don't know if I can bet against them to win 12 games.
So
But that's more see. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you said, I don't know how to bet against them. I can agree with that from a high level, but the reason I would say to not bet on them is price. Currently the market's pricing minus 250. We make this number plus 104. So we'll just call it 50% plus 100. I mean, you're getting quote unquote ripped off in my opinion.
Wait, I'm sorry. What the price for 11.5 wins?
No, for them to win the AFC West.
Gotcha.
You're saying it's
okay.
going to be, don't bet they're going to get it. I mean, the value you can see is to the under on the 11, but to win the division, we make this 50%, but the market is pricing, much, much higher.
Yep. Sure. Yeah, I can get behind that. I'm sorry. I was looking at the 11.5 wins at minus 110. I think that's a fair number. But to your point about winning the division, yeah, I mean, you're going to pay the KC tax. And quite frankly, it's probably not worth it. I'm not betting this. Don't take this as financial advice. But I mean, the Raiders for me would be an interesting thing to look at with, so how they with Antonio Pierce coming in. But I'm with you, Seth. I'm not touching the division futures.